Let's jump into the NHL though, Brett, because although I'm not picking with multiple days, I do still have a couple Monday picks because I do like what we are seeing with these games here. And you look at specifically like the Lightning versus the Panthers. The Lightning right now, they've clinched their playoff seeds. The Panthers, they've clinched their playoff seeds, but they're fighting for their seeds right now. The Lightning, if they win this in regulation, they steal two. They're tied with the Panthers at 77 points right now coming down the stretch. Very important game. So I'm betting that this is going to be a hard fought game. The over 6 at plus 110. Both of these teams are very good at hitting their over under. So I expect that this is going to be a very competitive, very high octane offensive game. And we're going to see a 4-3, 5-2 type of game.
Yeah, I'm interested, Higgins. Are teams playing their starting goalies down the stretch, like to keep them ready? Or are they kind of resting these guys to give them some rest before they're playing every night in the postseason? Like, I think that would play into my handicap a little bit, and I'm not knowledgeable enough on the subject to really give a comment. So, what have you seen in terms of that?
Well, so far for the Lightning, Vasilevsky has played a little bit down the stretch, but they have rotated him out a little bit compared to how heavily he is in rotation. So, like through April, from the 6th all the way down to the 20th, he played every single game. But he has been in rotation with McKelney and Gibson over their past 5 games. And then the Florida Panthers have also had a bit of a rotation coming down the stretch. So, I don't expect both of the lead goals to be in here in this tough game, but if they are, that is something to consider with this over under. But plus 110 is some spectacular value for two teams that are known to have very powerful offenses.
Yeah, and I guess just one quick thing to note for our listeners: the Florida Panthers have added a goalie to their roster recently, Spencer Knight, the former standout from the U.S. Juniors team, had a great college career playing up in Boston, and he's 4-0 to start his NHL career. Higgins only allowing 2.3 goals against, so he's been pretty impressive. So if he's in for the Panthers, maybe it's not as big of a step down as it would be for a normal, team going away from their lead goaltender.
Yes, Knight, his first start only allowed 1 goal, but in some of his past starts, I don't know if they rotated him out necessarily, but those games ended up being about 5-4. So I expect both of these teams to be very powerful offenses, like I've said a few times. They know how to put the puck in the net, and who knows, maybe they are rotating goalies out by period even this late. Who knows? Makes it kind of hard to get into a rhythm, makes it easy to score some goals potentially.
Yeah, no, I think it's he's a young goalie. He probably is going to have some growing pains, to your point, but I know that's not the only game you are on Monday night, Higgins.
Yes, I'm going to travel up north to the Canadian border, and I'm going to talk about the Edmonton Oilers in Montreal facing off against the Canadians. Now, up in that division, there's only one playoff seed left, the 4 seed. There's quite a few teams that aren't eliminated yet, but the team sitting in the best position to secure that 4 seed is the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens are sitting at 57 points. If they can get a win here against a team like the Edmonton Oilers, who have already secured pretty much the 2 seed rather handedly, they are 8 points back behind the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they are 9 points ahead of the Winnipeg Jets. So they are pretty settled into that 2 spot, it looks like. If Montreal gets a full win here, potentially secures that 4 spot coming down the stretch here, I like them at home minus 105 to do that.
All right, Higgins. I uh, am trusting you here because I am not informed on the Oilers or Canadians. I know Connor McDavid is probably taking home the MVP this year, Higgins, and he's a stud. And I see you betting against him, so I just wish you luck.
Well, let's see how much time they put Connor McDavid on the ice this late in the season. Who knows? I mean, it's all coming down the stretch like this in hockey, just like it is in the NBA. So we have to be careful with that as teams rest their stars potentially. You don't see that as much in the NHL, but you might see it a little bit depending on how everything's going. But I like that game. There's a few other interesting games that also had caught my eye, but I didn't find myself on, like the Canucks versus the Jets. like the Avalanche versus the Golden Knights, just because I think that's going to be a very good hint towards a playoff potential in the Western Conference over there. So, very interesting.